Oh, well, it's early in the morning, grab a cup and tune on in. Robert and Dave got that southern charm, let the laughter begin. From the morning funny to Maga Minute, ain't no better way to start your day the southern way, with a little joke and pray. We're just southern folks talking southern things, front porch swinging where the church bells rang. From Mama Said to Hum Day News, we keep it real with down home views. Sunday morning in the Word, get that gospel flow. Prayer time calls, so let's let our troubles go. Come Monday night, Mama Said is bringing the truth, and when it's night talk with Dave, man, you know it's getting loose. We're just southern folks talking southern things, stories and sports where the good times hang. From SFP News to I Remember That, we tell it like it is, and that's a fact. Got our veteran of the week, gotta show our pride. Pets of the week, bringing love worldwide. Talking paranormal, digging true crime. Southern fried stories all the dang time. So pull up a chair, y'all, and stay a while. Ain't nothing like that southern style. From the morning show to the soundstage band.
Just got to make sure I click it. I think I didn't have my mic open on Rumble Studio, so just getting all my ducks in a row. Good show last night. I had to leave early. Wasn't feeling good. I had some family. My son needed me for something, and I really wasn't feeling good, so I let Rob and Steve just finish the show off. They did a fine job. Sometimes those things happen, and so let them have the second part of that show. It was fun. We did announce on there that we will have the senator candidate from Texas on the 25th, who is running for John Cornyn's seat. That's going to be a big fight. He's getting geared up, and he's just coming on to tell his story, and that's what we let people do. And we're not just Georgia; we are wherever the need takes us. And so we talk politics all over the country and issues all over the country and the world. If somebody wants to cover something, we definitely want to be there for them. So we have that side of us. We have our news part, but we have the entertainment part and every other little thing in there. But happy Saturday. We also have our new affiliate, which you see on the screen for those of you that see the video, Patriot Mobile, promo code Cornbread. We'll be getting our QR codes up and everything for that soon, but at least here in America, make the switch. It is a patriotic company, stands for First and Second Amendment, pro-life. They're America First. Great people, faith-based, and they are amazing people, and they're getting us onboarded. We are in there, but we're just not fully onboarded because we don't have all of our information yet. And so we will be promoting that a lot. On April the, what is that, 18th or so, 18th, 19th, I think it's 18th, we will be, maybe it is the 19th, we will be at the Mayhaw Festival in Colquitt, Georgia, our first ever festival. And we will be filming live. We'll be interviewing people, not selling so much, although we may have some things for sale. We'll probably just put up our store. If somebody wants to order from our store, we can do that, and or we'll be probably signing up people to get them switched over to Patriot Mobile, or at least give them the information because that's a big affiliate for us, and so and as well as our other ones, we'll be doing that. Good morning, brother Jerry. Uh, okay, we were praying for you, brother. We are praying for you. So, um, mild to moderate. Okay. Is that something that they can treat, brother, with medication, or what does that mean, or do you even know? So pray for brother Jerry here and his new liver. So just be praying for him. That's always a battle, body rejection of that. So I don't think he minds me saying that. He would want the prayer, but we definitely will step up our prayers for him and his family. Uh, we'll pray for the folks in overseas, those massive earthquakes that happen. I was watching some of the video from some of those. Okay, extreme steroids and other medications. Okay, amen, brother, and a whole lot of prayer, a big dose of prayer. You got that. The shaking of the buildings, collapsing of cranes, massive, just a shaking of that area, and scary. Seeing some people actually falling out of cranes as they were coming down. Just a massive, massive series of earthquakes. And we're seeing a lot of things happen in these days. We've always had that, but those things will intensify across the world as we're in the last days before Christ's return, and for the church, and then eventually, 7 years later, the second return and the second coming rather, and so lots of things on tap. Rocky road financially for some, and could be for all, and probably is in some ways. But the tariff wars, as they're being called, and what's going on with the tariffs inside and outside the country is going to have an effect. I think it's having an effect already on companies that are really tightening the belt. I know our company has drawn close on a couple of things to keep things in line. I'm not going to mention those because that wouldn't be fair or right of me to do that. But I don't think it's a problem to say that they're like any other company. They're really watching this with as close as they have people that watch this and look at the numbers. Although we're in pretty good shape, we don't import a lot of stuff. We do have products outside the country, and there are some things that are moved between nations for products and things that are being used in the making of those products. So there's not a huge number, but a small number, but that could be having an effect. In some cases, the tariffs may help. In some cases, the tariffs may hurt. Depends on what you are buying and what that is. Someone gave an example that if you, depending on how these tariffs work, if you were buying a new $50,000 car, how tariffs may help you greatly, and essentially you'd be getting a $50,000 car for about 32,000. But again, in another way, it could go the other way. It depends. There's a lot of variables involved with this, and I don't think anybody knows exactly where it's going as far as what those cost components will be, and just where does it stop? Because the tariffs are being changed depending on which nation and how much the tariff is. So we don't know. There's a lot of things that's going to have to be figured out as we go. Nations are playing hardball with other nations. So a volatile stock market, exchange rates for money, you name it. All those things go into play when we're talking about goods and services going across borders. We will see there are some agreements, trade agreements, the North American Trade Agreement, which has changed over time. I think it's still in place. And then there are some agreements between nations, but again, tariffs are going up. So we'll look at that, as we get further into it. I'm going to have a show right after this from the Southern Fried MAGA. We'll dive a little deeper into administration, but I do want to say that really in the news cycle, what is really big this morning, besides the tariffs and a couple of other things, but the biggest thing is this trip to Greenland the vice president is taking, and a lot of things that are uh, taking part along with Greenland and what that means. Someone I highly respect their opinion. They're wise. They have a lot of things that, I mean, they're always on point to me, and they really study these things. Is Victor Davis Hanson at the Hoover Institute, and when he speaks on something, and I believe all of things are being set up because of future. Let's be honest, potential. We stress that potential future military actions against with other nations in conjunction against a nation or nations to be ready for that and hopefully avoid it. And so the Greenland has become ground zero for a military place to have positions where you could have planes, uh, supplies, whatever, refuel. Anyway, Victor Davis Hanson has spoke to Newsmax, and he is a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. And on Friday, and I saw this headline late yesterday, and I didn't get we was not in a I was not in a show to cover it, but I wanted to touch on it this morning. And he has said that the United States needs access to Greenland to protect American interests. Now, notice he didn't say that they need to take it over. Now, that's what a lot of people are saying that we're doing is to take it over. He goes on to say that the visit to Greenland by the vice president underscores the need for an increased U.S. presence at the North Atlantic island nation. It's something President Trump has talked about many times. And a quote here, so there has to be some kind of compromise where we have access to protect the West from its enemies. But I don't think anybody wants to take it over and colonize it as they've accused us of, end quote. That's key because that is what the media across the world is saying, that the president is a dictator and he's going to just take this place over. And even the people within inside Greenland are sort of making, comments about that, which are alarming. We don't want to be known as, we're the conquerors. We're trying to protect the world. But he is saying that he joked about it being a state. But there is no doubt you have to have places that you can put military equipment if needed in case of, and sometimes probably just for the deterrence of military action, you have to be ready for that. So I've always said that it's good to have some bases around the world. We don't want to be anywhere where nobody wants us, but there has to be something. You can't fight if the need arose, or just to have the presence there to keep at bay some of these nations. We're a large military, one of the largest, if not the largest, depends on who you're talking about, or two, as to what kind of military we have. But it is definitely one of the top three, and it may be number one in some things, or maybe overall. But there's obviously superpowers, and we're needing to put equipment, men, missiles, maybe. Who knows? I don't know, but they need to have runways, storage facility capability to be able to jump off and do military operations if needed, or to do just patrols. And we do have aircraft carriers and groups that we can get in the area and do some of that. But this gives us a chance to have a lot of stuff on the ground and ready to go. And so he said that. He said it is only logical for the U.S. to have a larger footprint around Greenland, a territory of Denmark. It's a North American territory. So China and Russia are active in its airspace and its maritime zones, and we need somebody to keep them out and keep it Western. And he being Trump, pardon me, says that requires a greater presence than we have. Hansen said the physical proximity of the U.S. to Greenland makes the primary point in any debate about the issue. I mean, it's North America. It's closer to New York than it is to Denmark. Denmark is always lecturing everybody on postmodern anti-colonialism, but it's a colonial relic. kind of an interesting take there. I always love Victor Davis Hanson's takes on stuff. He says it. He says it to the point. He doesn't mince words, and he is always on point. And this is the best that I've seen about it. Instead of the what you usually get, instead of the exaggerations, the rhetoric, the Trump's taking over countries, he's a dictator, he's a Hitler, and all this stuff that they say. Here comes Victor Davis Hanson, and he's saying, "Hey, listen, you're talking about taking over nations, but look how far it is away from you." And everybody knows this is about secondary Russia, but it is primarily China. China's been making threats and feints, and they've been flying in other people's airspaces, and it is, we've got this issue of Taiwan, the chips that are being made there, which one of those is now opening a huge facility, over here in the States because they've got to hedge their bets because if something happens, they could lose it all. And these are the most advanced computer chips available. They are the best. They are the number one. There's, to my understanding, there's 5 facilities over there in Taiwan, and they offer the best of the best of the best, and everybody wants their hands on them. And the fear is obviously that the Chinese would just come and take the nation over, but that pulls us into war due to agreement. So that's why they probably haven't done it so far, although they have flown over their airspace. They've done mock war games around Taiwan, put a lot of stuff in the water. I've watched military men talk about how they would probably hit the island, what kind of direction they would take, where those military assets would come from. Some people that are ex-military actually talk about this often and do the various war scenarios of China against Taiwan, who they view as Chinese, and that's a Chinese nation, and that's the way it's going to be. So it is always a sore spot with China. And of course, the advancement of the Chinese and expanding their islands and taking over or seemingly trying to take over shipping lanes and calling them Chinese territorial waters by doing that. And the airspace above it is alarming to other nations. So they have been building their military, especially their Navy, the Chinese I'm talking about, for some time. Used to be they were very behind in the area of aircraft carriers. They have begun to catch up. Their planes are on level with anybody else's. They obviously have the manpower. They don't have a shortage of young military age men to put in to train and put into military operations. So that's not a problem. And even though they've had some financial woes, they'll find the money to continue to build up their war machine. So it is alarming. And I think this is just American military leaders telling the president, hey, we need this in case. This would be a Pete Hegseth and others, strategists that are saying, listen, we need to protect our flank, and here's a place we can do that. So I believe that's a point of, hey, let's make a deal, because you know what, Denmark, you can't protect Greenland. You can't stop. If another rogue nation that's big enough or a superpower wants to take that over, you need us there, because that's the only thing that's going to save you from being taken over. And that's a fact. And we've seen what was happened with Russia moving into Ukraine and other former republics. There's been the fight over, I can't remember the name of the islands between Russia and Japan, and what the Russia's advancement there, trying to claim that. It's been a sore spot there. Russian expansionism that has been occurring, and so it makes sense. And this is a great take, and I hope that this is the kind of article that gets into a lot of people's hands, and that's why I wanted to cover it. Because if you really want to follow somebody that's is not, they're not drama, they don't dramatize anything. Victor Davis Hanson does not dramatize. He doesn't exaggerate. He's always on point, and he's constantly reevaluating these things, and he brings it at a level that is highly respected, and I completely respect his opinion. Follow him, and don't take my word for it. Follow him and listen to what he has to say. He is just one of those voices. He understands the bigger picture, the global picture, and he gets it in a way that most news people today don't get. He's a go-to source for me, and I like Victor Davis Hanson. Also, you could he's an author, I believe, and you can read some of his books. But he is this Hoover Institution that he is the senior fellow at. They're constantly putting out information about stuff like that. He is well respected and is on as just like he's on Newsmax. I've seen him on just about every credible news cast, podcast, whatever it is. He's out there, and he doesn't mind the time. And he is, like I said, you just don't find him. He's to me, he's that guy that you should be behind the in front of the camera talking to Americans every day, because he just puts it plain. And he says it in a way that it's trustworthy. He has a trustworthy presence and voice, and you don't feel like there's an agenda in his game, and there's not. And that's why I respect him so much. There's a few others out there that I think the world of, but he is at the very top of the list. And so anyway, check him out. Don't take my word for it. I'm glad to make the recommendation. You can go and listen to him and see what you think. I'm sure he's got his detractors, people that don't care for him, but I find him to be on point, and I really respect his opinion. The coffee is good this morning. I have my first sip of the first cup. I'm a little late getting to it, so it's good. And my son came down last night. He drank a cup of coffee in the studio, and we're supposed to get together. We were supposed to get together yesterday. We're going to have a monitor that's going to go up behind me here in the studio that we're going to have images and stuff on, and other things for the podcast. We didn't quite get to that, so maybe Sunday afternoon for the first of the week shows. Hopefully that will happen. Maybe Sunday night news desk will be the first show that has it. We're just as we continue to upgrade and improve the studio here, and right now you see that I've just got the banner behind me, but we're going to be adding to that. We're just trying to get everything in place. So hopefully we get to it. I don't know. It seems like everything else is getting in the way. These last week or so. Been a rough couple of weeks. I hope it's been well for you. Let's pray for each other. Don't forget in the morning, Sunday morning in the Word, 8 a.m. I might come in a little earlier, but approaching the 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. that is. We go live with that and we get into the Word. But I may try to do that a little earlier, just because it helps my wife needs a little more time getting in the vehicle these days, and we may have to pick someone up for church, and which is a great thing, and so it could be a little bit before that. Not sure exactly right now, but just pay attention in the morning if you like that show. Might be live just a little earlier tomorrow night, 9 p.m. We will definitely have the news desk, and we may have one other show. Tomorrow afternoon, if things go well, may do a sports show while the race is going on, and we'll talk about some other sports. Baseball's coming in and started. And unfortunately, the Braves lost the first game, but we're looking forward to talking sport. We talk all kinds of sports, so we do have a racing hour that is next week, should be on Tuesday, and hopefully Brother Dean will be able to return as my co-host, and he said he watched the show and he enjoyed it. But we do have that as a separate show. And we also just announced it's going to be not live yet. Not live yet. We've got a lot of things to get in place for it, but instead of piecing together, we started them out in the Cornbread Nation. They could show their videos. They've become their own entity, and that's why they deserve their own spot. We are going to have a new show that is right now 30 minutes in length, and we hope to maybe expand on it. We'll see, but there it is on the screen, the Jeb and Bubba Show, and there they are, Georgia Bubba and Uncle Jeb, the Jeb and Bubba Show, the adventures of Jeb and Bubba. JJ may come along, Jeb Jr. There could be others, and I suspect there will be in this show. This will be following the adventures of Uncle Jeb and Georgia Bubba. It's become very interesting to hear the places they go and what happens in their lives. And there is a new song that is already out there, ready for to go on the show. And I'll have to get it uploaded. If I can get it uploaded here in just a second, I may actually. If I'll have to find and see if I can add this to the show. In Podbean, I will play the song for you. It's rather cute, and so we'll see if I can get up there my uploads. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see here. I think I can get it up there if I can find it in. I may have to download it first and then upload it, but we'll play that for you a little bit later in the show, definitely because we want to kind of advertise for them. So I've got a lot of things up there, but I don't have the the Jub and Bubba show. So we'll see. We'll see where we can find it at and get it up there because I do want to play it. It's rather cute and talking about these adventures of Uncle Jeb. And there we go. Let me get it into Podbean. It's loading up now. And we'll just play. I have to play on it simultaneously across the streams. It's just the way it works right now. But let me do that. Let me get them ready, and we'll just put the well. We'll make this a commercial, but we'll put their overlay up here on the screen, and we'll play the song. So here we go.
Uncle Jeb's got his overalls on. He's hauling down the lane. Georgia Bubba's hiding his face, thinking, here we go again. Jeb's got a jug of moonshine, stories too wild to tell. Bubba's blushing, but laughing, he knows Jeb's raising hell. Oh, Uncle Jeb, you're crazy as they come, yelling at the rooster like the world's come undone. Bubba shakes his head, but deep down he knows life's sweeter with Jeb wherever he goes. They fished down at the creek, Jeb lost his right boot. Hollered that dang catfish just stole my Sunday suit. Bubba rolled his eyes but stayed by his old friend's side. Through all those wild misadventures, it's a heck of a ride. Oh, Uncle Jeb, you're crazy as they come, yelling at the rooster like the world's come undone. Bubba shakes his head, but deep down he knows life's sweeter with Jeb wherever he goes. They fished down at the creek, Jeb lost his right boots. Hollered that dang catfish just stole my Sunday suit. Bubba rolled his eyes but stayed by his old friend's side. Through all those wild misadventures, it's a heck of a ride. Oh, Uncle Jeb, you're crazy as they come, yelling at the rooster like the world's come undone. Bubba shakes his head, but deep down he knows life's sweeter with Jeb wherever he goes. Bubba knows someday these tales will fade to dust, but even through his grumbles, Jeb has earned his trust. Forever shout and holler, there's a twinkle in his eye. Bubba wouldn't trade him, not till the day he dies. Down at the county fair, Jeb's dancing with the pigs. Bubba tries to pull him out, but Jeb's just doing jigs. Let him laugh, Georgia Bubba. Jeb bellows through the dirt. Life ain't about looking pretty, it's about grass stains on your shirt. Oh, Uncle Jeb, you're crazy as they come, yelling at the rooster like the world's come undone. Bubba shakes his head, but deep down he knows life's sweeter with Jeb wherever he goes. Wherever he goes.
And there you go. Can't wait to see that come online. There is much planning right now and soon to be recording for the first episode of the Jub and Bubba show. And it has become just something where it just kind of matured into they needed their own space. And so we're going to give it to them. And not sure what night that's going to air on or day, although that could be a Saturday evening kind of a release. We don't usually release a whole lot on Saturday night. I'm usually working, and I don't do any shows. Sometimes Rob may air something, but this it won't matter. This won't be live, and it'll be recorded for you to watch. But the adventures of Uncle Jeb and Georgia Bubba, with other cast of characters be coming in to play. So they'll be in filming on some locations as well along the way. So we'll see where that goes. But it's kind of cute. So we've got our logos, we've got the song, and now we just got to start putting it together. So some things just grow and have fun doing them, and we've got other characters that will come and be a part of it along the way, and we'll develop those characters into the story. And so they like to go on their adventures, and been to Raising Cane's. The last one was they were at Bucky's, and Uncle Jeb always embarrasses Georgia Bubba, but Georgia Bubba, as the song says, really cares about Uncle Jeb, and so he likes hanging out with him. They're very different in age, but Georgia Bubba cares about him. He doesn't want to see him get hurt, and he really does enjoy it. It's just that he gets embarrassed, as young people tend to do with older people. I, I seen that with my grandchildren. When you go to drop them off at school, they'll be like, "Hey, don't talk so loud. Don't say that. Don't sing. Could you turn your music down?" They get embarrassed sometimes when they're teenagers. So Georgia Bubba's a little older than that, but he's still young, and he still gets embarrassed by Jeb, who's obviously in his looks to be, and he doesn't tell his age, but seems to be in his late 60s, early 70s, and he he just don't have a filter. He don't care. It's hard of hearing, and he likes to have. We could say good, clean fun, but he does get a little bit of trouble here. He kind of reminds me of a little bit if you go back and to a character that was on TV. The grandpa on the Waltons. The grandpa on the Waltons was a good guy, had a heart of gold, hard worker, loved his family. But occasionally he would kind of get in a little trouble. And grandma was always trying to keep him out of trouble and didn't know, sometimes just rolled her eyes like, she was embarrassed, much like Georgia Bubba. So it's not based on that, but it reminds me of that. Good morning, Spartan. How are you today on the Rumble side of things? Let's get ready to rumble. And we appreciate those of you in the Instagram this morning and everywhere else that you're coming in from. We have a few brave souls from X and, I think Twitch, I'm not sure, Facebook. We appreciate you this morning. So, yeah, good, happy Saturday morning. We'll dive deep in the news in the next program. I just want to come on and chit chat a little bit. I missed part of the show last night. Again, like I wasn't feeling the best. That happens. I could have trooped on, but with Steve there, it was fine. And so I just stayed out. Once I had to leave for a minute, I just said, I'm going to let them finish up. So it's all well and good. I hope you have a great weekend. We do have some rain coming in our area. I think maybe even a storm or two. Could be late tonight into tomorrow and into Monday. But right now it is a beautiful, beautiful day. Blue skies, just really wonderful temperatures this morning. And I slept good last night, which is always a good thing. Thankful for good sleep. It is 65 degrees here as we broadcast from the banks of the Southern Fried River here in North Georgia. And it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I hope that you're having a beautiful day. Get your coffee, get your whatever. We've got about 4 different kinds of coffee now in the studio. And hopefully within just a little bit of time, you're going to be seeing the Southern Fried Coffee. I know we've been talking about that. I'm going to put the push on now that we've got Patriot Mobile on board. We're gonna work toward that'll be, and the email marketing. By the way, if you would like to be in our email send out, and I've got some to add today while I'm multitasking. I've got emails to add into our mail system. We're going to be starting a newsletter here. I hope by the week after next. Not hope, we're going to do it. It'll have links in there, maybe a test run just to make sure it comes through. But then we won't do more than once a week. the plan is for that to be a Monday or Tuesday. Probably suspect it to be a Tuesday release, but it could come out on Monday. We'll not share your info. Right now, we're sending everybody a sticker that will send us their address. We'll send you a sticker, and you can help us advertise. And we're going to do a drawing for all the initial emails we get in for a shirt from our store, your pick, and size and color. We'll put everybody into in about a month from now, after we've successfully got that up to a level that we're our initial run. We'll draw a hat. We'll do that live on the air, and so you can see. So, but you got to give us your email. We won't share it, and we won't fill up your inbox. It'll be from the Southern Fried Podcast. We use MailChimp right now. That could change, but right now MailChimp. So be looking for it from there. We've had a number come in, and I've got to get some of those loaded into the system this weekend. And next week start the design of what we were waiting on Patriot Mobile to come on board so we could get the links, the QR code, and everything for them. And then we're going to start the email campaign. If you're in the U.S., folks, make the switch today to Patriot Mobile. Use that promo code Cornbread. We're signing up a business phone. In fact, I have the phone here on my desk for the podcast. And we're for what it's used for, we're going to use the cheapest one they have, which is $26 plus tax a month. You can't beat that, folks. I mean, if you got a better deal than that, then praise God. But $26 a month, excuse me. And it's a great company, and we love to be a part of them and what they're about and saving money. They have different plans depending on your needs. All of them are affordable and much more affordable than usually you'll get through other carriers. And you can keep your carrier if you like Verizon, if you like T-Mobile, if you like AT&T. They will set you up on that system. So no problem there. And just bring your number and phone, give them the information. It's a quick sign up. They'll get everything switched over. And when you use Cornbread as your promo code, you'll help the Southern Fried Podcast just expand operations and continue operations as we go. So we help each other. Patriots helping Patriots. That's going to be part of our tagline, that we are Christian, we are conservative, we are Southern, and we are Patriots helping Patriots, and that's what we do. Rob's got some. He was telling me right before I come on the air. He called me, and he was working on a fundraiser for some wrestlers down in his area. They may be airing some live wrestling on Saturday night with us. We're trying to work out the details, but we're definitely going to have one show and then try to have I think it's monthly they do that. So we're going to try to help them out and get them some information on a Saturday night. Like I said, we don't normally do much. We'll have that in there, and there'll be a QR code that people can help them and helping those young people. And that's always important, to give them an outlet and something. Athletics is a great way to do that. And we want to be a part. We always want to help to do that as well. I do want to say, I'm going to pull it back up on screen. Give me just a second to pull the file up. And I'm excited about this. We had they were some people that, let me find it here. I think it's, there it is. Here we go. This young man's running for John Cornyn's seat out in Texas, and he's going to be on with us at April 25th for 1 hour of Front Porch Talking live, telling his story and answering questions about the seat and his thoughts on politics in Texas and Texas on a national level. And I'm pulling up the picture now, has the info on it. So we want to be advertising for that. Again, don't forget, we'll be at our first festival, the Mayhaw Festival, here in 3 weeks. And here is that young man, Duncan for Senate. Faith, family, freedom, reclaiming faith, family, freedom are the pillars that built this great nation. Faith in God, strong families as the foundation of our communities, and the freedom to live, work, and worship without government interference. Putting America first, we can restore these values, protect our Constitution, and secure a brighter future for generations to come. So there is a website, Duncan for Senate, I believe it is .com. We'll get that added to it as well. I just put this together very quickly last night. And he has a nice website, has a nice merch store with some good-looking items that are affordable. And I think I'm gonna get me a hat. I'm a hat guy, and I like the look of his hats. And and we'll get that ordered in. I may order that today. I'd like to have it on when we do the show. So maybe I need to get the cowboy hat. He didn't have that for sale. I do have my hat. Maybe I could just get a picture and put it in my cowboy hat. I don't know. Start a new trend, cowboy hats here in the East. Jerry, if you're still out there, are you for it, brother? Let's just get us a preacher cowboy hat. I do have some preacher friends that wear the cowboy hat, but that's more of a Western thing. But hey, we got cowboys in the East. Absolutely, we do. Ronald Reagan was from California. He was all cowboy. He'd get out there on that ranch and chainsaw stuff, ride his horses. Them Russians, they didn't know what to think about Ronald Reagan. He looked to them, that was the Marlboro man. That's exactly, I know what they were thinking. That was the Marlboro man with his hand on the trigger. And they didn't know how to take him. Uh, he had a way with him, but boy, did he not, a way to talk and quib. This week, I've been putting it off. There's been so much going on, but the hope is that Tuesday night, a reoccurring show that needs to be much more reoccurring because I love doing it. It's more of a documentary type show, but it's a look back at major events in history called I Remember That. And here, let's see if, it's not going to show. Let me get me to the side here and we'll show what that looks like. That's not good enough. There we go. It's called I Remember That, the old movie theater. There's still a few out there, but that is our I Remember That background. And we're going to, now I got to find myself, get back up here. There we go. That's good enough. And I'll get my background back up there. But I remember that will be about the assassination attempt for Ronald Reagan. And, that was a crazy time of things that were going on around that time. Remember, it was Alexander Haig? I mean, I'm in charge here. Oh, career killer right there. Career killer. He thought he was in charge. He was not in charge, and it really messed up. It really messed him up. But that sounded like a coup. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. How close the president came to death. Some of the players, some of the actions, and that happened on that day. It's always a scary time. I mean, you hate that happens, and he came really close to dying. Nobody knew exactly how close until later. They didn't know what they were, and decisions that were made saved his life. He never lost his wit about him during that time, but it was very close. Our nation came to another presidential assassination, and I think it's a great time to air this. One, it's been so long ago. We love talking about President Reagan. But also, there are threats upon our presidents, especially now. There are those. I mean, what do you say about these knuckleheads in our own nation that I think they cheer it, they root for it to happen. They're sick. I'm talking about people in government, people in politicians. Listen, I had my things I did not absolutely couldn't stand about President Biden, but I would never, ever, ever, ever want anything to happen to our president. That is horrible. And there are people out there that would be out in the streets celebrating and everything if anything happened. We always say pray for the presidents. That's our Christian responsibility, is to pray for those in authority, as if Jesus Christ Himself was sitting at the chair. And so we need to pray for these leaders. We may get mad at them, we may not, and nobody's going to like everything that a man decides to do. I don't care who you are. There may be some that do. There's always going to be something that you find you just don't like, and you're like, what in the world? I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not down with you on that, Mr. President. But that doesn't mean we wish bad of them, because we certainly do not. So let's make sure that we definitely are emphasizing safety and security for our administration, no matter who they are. I mean, a nation does not need that to happen. It would be and could be utter chaos. And that day was one that could have went a much different way. Absolutely could have went a much different way. Very, very fortunate we didn't have really bad things happen that day. It was bad enough. We did have bad things happen, but we could have had our country was vulnerable. It's always vulnerable when something like that happens. And of course, he had to go into surgery. Transfer of power occurred for a brief time, and that's always, I mean, especially since the Kennedy day, that is always that's tough for. That was a tough day for America, and we hope we never see nothing like it ever again. But I'm gonna be doing that. We'll try to put that together for Tuesday. Maybe live. I have recorded those in the past, but I think I may do it live and just bring in some people to chat and talk about that day. If you're old enough to remember, you don't have to be that. Anybody can talk about it, but if you're old enough, let's get together and talk about it this Tuesday. And then, like I said, tomorrow afternoon, hopefully you have a sports show talking about the beginning of baseball season, maybe a little football news too. Tuesday evening, 6 p.m., Southern Fried Racing Hour. Of course, our regular features and shows that are happening this week, all through the weekend and then all through the week. So we don't stop. We just keep going, and we're excited to have you here. I will be on after this show with Southern Fried Mag. I'm going to dive much deeper into the news and look at some things around the world, including that tenuous, somewhat of a ceasefire in between Russia and Ukraine. Tenuous. And its only limits limited. And what the Russians had to say, and this is what I suspected would happen, and it is happening. And I don't think we're going to have peace there unless two things happen. Two things happen. And by the way, the Russians took a heck of a hit over the weekend. They lost a lot of soldiers in a battle. They're piling up. Recent estimates have them having lost due to death and casualty over 900,000 troops since this thing started. That's incredible. Think of the impact on families. Wow, incredible. And they have more to give, more people, more resources. But at some point, it starts impacting, and it certainly has. And nobody wants to go into war. I mean, you got to be kind of sick person to want to go to war or to want your kid to go to war. So these families are devastated. The families are, they're stuck. What are they going to do? In Ukraine, they're grabbing them off the street and throwing them into vans. They just grab them up. Talk about your draft. They just draft them on the street, pull up the van, put a gun to their head, or two big strong men just force them into the van, and next thing you know, they're on the front lines with a gun. That's what happens. That's the sickness of it that's going on over there. So we'll talk a little more about that in Southern Fried MAGA. Again, I'm Dave in the AM. I hope you've been with us before. If not, we are the Southern Fried Podcast, and we've been around for almost a year, and we'll continue to be so, Lord willing, as long as there's breath in the lungs. We're on just about every stream, but we only stream live to certain streams, but we are represented on just about every platform out there in some form or fashion, some in a less degree, some in much more major degree, but we're out there. We just want to make things available. We are active every day on the streams. In fact, there's going to be a lot of our show, MAGA Minute, getting loaded up. This is another hard week. We've got a few in the cupboard that we need to release today, and those will be released throughout today, as well as some stuff to the audio sites that we didn't get to. So we'll get those up there today and be working that. And then in the morning, our Sunday morning show. It's great to be alive, ain't it? The alternative is not what you want. It's great to be alive. It's great to be here. Hope your families are doing well. Spend time with your kids, your grandkids. Tell your spouse you love them, your parents you love them. If you haven't done that today, do it, because you just never know when's the last day. Do something to make America greater today. We can all do that. Absolutely. Yes. He did. Spartan did send cannibals and criminals and everything else from prison to the front. He did. He throwed everything but the kitchen sink there. A lot of mercenaries. People that can't exist in normal civilized, areas. They sent them to the front. And of course, they were wreaking havoc across the front lines. We know what was happening. Rape, murder, torture of civilian people. It is horrible. And the stealing of children. Now, no matter what side of this you're on, that really doesn't matter to me. This is a far greater and a far more serious thing that has happened. And that is the stealing of thousands upon thousands of children in that theater of war. And where are these kids at? That's the question. Only about 400 have been returned out of thousands, and nobody knows the exact number. The Russians have did this. Some of them have been given to Russian families to adopt. We know this because organizations have went and located them, and in some cases, those Ukrainian mothers made their way. They went there and got their kids back. Don't make a mama bear mad. God bless them, but only about 400. Others don't know where they're at. It's horrible. Different ages, all different ages. And where are these kids at? This was a definite plan. This wasn't like all of a sudden they came into a bunch of kids and said, "Oh, well, for their well-being, we're going to move them back to Russia and take care of them." No, they should have been sent with a flag of truce over the front lines for the kids. Where are these kids at? And that was a plan going in. Were they recruiting them to raise them as soldiers? Probably in some cases, the older ones. Think about that. Some of those older kids may be put back on the front lines against the Ukrainians. That's possible. Some of them sadly for to breed future fighters. They're twisted thinking like that, and other less. We're not going to speak on things. So there's no telling what happened and what is happening to those kids. But God bless those moms that went back. There was a guy. I wish I could remember his name. I'd like to have him on, but there's there's several, but there's one organization. They not only are working to get the kids back, they're charging individuals they know to be responsible with war crimes, and they are trying to get them, whenever they can, extracted and taken, put before a tribunal and convicted for their crimes. So that's hard business. First of all, you got to find out who did it. Lack of information is very hard. Two is you got to find out where where they were sent and where these individuals are that sent them there. And it's just not an easy thing to do. Yes, you are correct, Spartan. Without a doubt, men that hide at home 24/7, the ladies of the house do shopping, because they will be grabbed off the streets. They will be. And there's videos of that if you've seen those. I mean, one guy just recently, this was last week, don't know when the video was taken. I saw the video last week, and he was screaming, "I've got a kid at home. I've got a kid at home. I've got to take care of my kid," and they were they didn't have a gun to his head, but they were forcing him in the vehicle, the two brutes. And of course, he lost that battle. I mean, if I understand, it's a weird things. Like I said, I hope this thing can be ended soon. But yeah, can you imagine trying to, afraid to go anywhere, afraid you're going to be spotted? And how do you make money? I mean, that'd be tough. That'd be tough. And then, before the war, there were thousands upon thousands of Ukrainian men and Russian men who left the nations. Those that could get out, they're living around the world because neither one of them wanted anything to do with this war. Especially on the Russian side, a lot of Russians were sent to live with people abroad and got them out before they closed the ability of them to leave. There were thousands, and they're living abroad right now, going to school, working, whatever, in other nations to stay out of this war zone. There's no pride in this war, other than you might say for the Ukrainians, they're defending their homeland. I get that, and their towns, but the Russians, those fighters? They don't feel no other than Russian power. But after they've seen the brutality of the front lines for a day or two, they're over that. And I guarantee the ones who want the war ended the most are on the front lines because they see the brutality. Spartan says, "I seen a video of a Ukrainian guy knocks out those trying to take him." Yeah, MMA baby, start taking, knocking the crap out of him. But then he's got to go hide, because they'll be coming back looking for him. Yeah, I mean, they're just grabbing him off the streets. I don't know what age they go down to. Can you imagine being an older looking 16-year-old, like you look 18, but you're really 15 or 16? Do they grab those up and take them? I wouldn't doubt it. That's one of the biggest fears right now in Ukraine is their own government taking the men and force them to fight. How long before they start taking the senior citizens? Retired men, 60, 70-year old, making them go, fire a gun somewhere. That's how bad this is getting. Their lack of ability to field enough soldiers is driving them to do horrible things. Just face it, it's horrible. A draft is horrible. It is. But this is even worse. This is just stealing people. And that's what it is. It's stealing people. A draft is never a successful thing. It's always hated. These people didn't want to join. They're forced to join. But it is a process. It's not like they went and grabbed them off the street, threw them in the back of a van, and then, days later they're on the front line after a little bit of training with a gun to their head, I guess, making them go to the front lines where you're shot if you try to leave the front line. Um, that's just horrible. You know, throughout American history, there has been drafts, and it's never a good thing. You want your volunteer military, your volunteer to always be very successful. It's getting better now that Pete Hegseth and others are there. The recruiting numbers have been way down in America for a long time. And they've always said we're not ready for a sustained war. Not that you're going to go through some people you're going to have to replenish, but the numbers are not even at the level of readiness for war. Just even peacetime, they're not at the levels that they're supposed to be for peacetime, and much less to go to war. And people have said for a while, nobody wants to talk about too much. We're not ready for war. We don't have enough men and women to serve. So those numbers are going back up, better numbers they've seen in a long, long time. And there's a little bit of pride coming back in. And hey, nobody wants to go to war, but you can get your college paid for. You do your military service, you get your college paid for, and you stay long enough. There's veteran benefits. So it just depends on what somebody's looking for. I don't know. I think it's probably not a bad thing for every young man, young girl, young boy to do at least the peacetime service. A couple years. I think it builds character. Give them a benefit there for serving. I wish everybody did that. But again, I'm not saying force it. But I just wish it was more that would do that. Uh, maybe we'll have to empty out some of our prisons. I don't know. But if you were in jail and you had 15, 20, 25 years to go, and they offered you a gun to go to the front lines of a battle for freedom, would you do it? If you win the war, you're free. Of course, there's a chance you die, but would you go? That's something that has to be decided. Would you want the cause or the chance to be free by putting your life at risk? It's interesting. I'd say in some cases, maybe those in Russia. I don't know if they were given a choice. Maybe they were. Maybe they were. I don't know. Gonna end this part. We're gonna come back with Southern Fried Mag. I hope you can come back and join us. Just two different programs. So give me 15 minutes or so to flip it around, remake the coffee, and we'll be right back. I've been waiting on you to put that up there, brother. I was disappointed. I was like, where's the post, man? You waited. That's like a record time. I was waiting on your post. I'm used to you having those in there. So Spartan, I appreciate him. I don't know his real name, but I like the Spartan. Sardaukar or Sardaukar. I don't know if we're pronouncing that right, but I know Spartan. I can say that without butchering the name. South Ozman and Podbean, everybody on Instagram, X, wherever you're coming from. What? Hey, I'm good with it. I just don't like the carpet bombing the whole thing. I have no problem with your comments being anti that. I'm not. I'll even put it on screen. I'm not against that. I know there's problems there. I'm not ignorant to that. But when you go the carpet bomb the whole thing, I can't. I can't do that, man. But if you will put that in there. Oh, I love you. I really do love you. Oh, you know what? It's nothing like being online and interacting with people. So you give me a laugh. Sometimes I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like Joe Biden, "Come on, man! Can you say that?" But you know what? It's freedom, man. I support your right to say it. I may not agree with it, but I support your right to say it because I believe in freedom of thought and freedom of voice. Amen. So I hope you can come back with us. If not, have a great Saturday. Give me about 15 minutes. I'll be back. I got to set the next stream up. Refill the coffee cup, and I'll be right back. A little music on your way out. Take care. Crack me up, man. I'm seriously just crack me up. I love it. You know how to go just far enough, and I do like that. See you in a minute.
Oh, well, it's early in the morning. Grab a cup and tune on in. Robert and Dave got that southern charm. Let the laughter begin. From the morning funny to Maga Minute, ain't no better way to start your day the southern way with a little joke and pray. We're just southern folks talking southern things. Front porch swinging where the church bells rang. From Mama Said to Hum Day News, we keep it real with down home views. Sunday morning in the Word, get that gospel flow. Prayer time calls, so let's let our troubles go. Come Monday night, Mama Said is bringing the truth. And when it's night talk with Dave, man, you know it's getting loose. We're just southern folks talking southern things. Stories and sports where the good times hang. From SFP News to I Remember That, we tell it like it is, and that's a fact. Got our veteran of the week, gotta show our pride. Pets of the week, bringing love worldwide. Talking paranormal, digging true crime. Southern fried stories all the dang time. So pull up a chair, y'all, and stay a while. Ain't nothing like that southern style. From the morning show to the soundstage band, it's SFP Live, won't you give them a hand? So pull up a chair, y'all, and stay a while. Ain't nothing like that southern style. From the morning show to the soundstage band, it's SFP Live, won't you give them a hand?